Hello, this is Matt from tracyandmatt.co.uk and from unboxings.com, and here I have the LG GT 405 or the LG Viewty GT. I'm going to have a quick unbox for you, take a look inside, and then we're going to go away and actually do the full review for you. So starting at the beginning, we have a 3 SIM card because this is provided by our friends over at 3 for review. Handset itself is immediately on top. Come back to that in just a second. And also in the box we have a standard UK 3-pin plug with on the other end a micro USB connector for obviously charging up the handset. Then we have a set of wired headphones or wired headset, which again has a micro USB connector and then an inline microphone with push button, and then some pretty plastic feeling and looking headphones. Now if you're going to put a lot of music on this handset, I'm sure you're going to want to replace these with your own, and whether or not there isn't actually a 3.5mm headphone jack on the handset, so you're going to have to get a little adapter, which you can probably pick up from eBay, that converts the micro USB into 3.5mm headphone jack. Those headphones probably aren't going to be that satisfactory for listening to music. The manual itself is pretty small and basic, covers the getting started and all the bits and pieces. It doesn't seem to be very detailed because it is quite lightweight, but I'm sure you'll make do. So the handset itself, first of all on the front we have a 3-inch display which is 240 by 400 pixels or WQVGA. Underneath that we have 3 keys, so we have the answer button, the menu button and hang up button also doubling up as the power button. It does have a screen protector on the front, which I'm just going to peel off so it's slightly less reflective for having a look at that in a second. There is also a small hole there which is actually the microphone, and obviously the loudspeaker right on the top of the handset. It is obviously touchscreen as well, but we'll come back to that in a second. On the left hand side we have a cover over a micro SD card socket which supports up to 16 gig micro SDHC memory cards. According to the spec I've read, it won't support up to 32 gig or the latest 32 gig models, but 16 gig will probably be sufficient for a handset like this, I would have thought. There's a cover on the plastic cover on the bottom I'll leave in place just for now, and then there's a plastic cover, plastic sticker right the way down the right hand side. Just peel that off. So on the right hand side it's pretty busy. Firstly we have cover over the micro USB connector, so that's used for sync and charge and the actual headphones, although we don't actually have a USB cable with it, so if you want to transfer media from the handset to your PC or from your PC back to the handset, which is probably more likely, you're going to have to buy a cable at an additional cost. Either that or you're going to have to put it on the micro SD card and read it that way, but actually connecting up the handset you're going to have to buy a micro USB card reader or actually a USB cable. There's an up and down volume control there, and holding down the bottom one will actually mute, and then there's a lock switch which generally speaking just turns the backlight on and off or puts it into like a sleep mode, and then there's a dedicated camera button. Quite a lot of controls and things down the right hand side, so it's kind of busy looking if you like. On the top really nothing to see, although we do have a little stylus which just pops in sideways. Unusually pops in sideways. It is quite small and it is telescopic, so as you've probably guessed by looking at the fact that there is a stylus, it is a resistive touchscreen rather than capacitive. It does put some people off, but when they're well implemented they can be quite good. There is an eyelet here for actually connecting up a lanyard or a phone charm, and then on the back we have a 5 megapixel autofocus camera but no flash. It is a fairly entry-level handset though, so perhaps that's the reason for that. Also on the back we have back cover. There is a SIM card in place. Obviously this is a 3 SIM card because it's provided by 3, and then the battery itself, which is already in place, is a 1000 mAh battery. Not bad at all. So let's just pop that cover back on. That pops on easier than it comes off. I suppose that's probably the right way around to be. So let's just power up. And while we wait for that to turn on, let me just run down the rest specification. It is quad band for GSM, so in terms of voice calling, if you're abroad, roaming, it's going to work pretty much everywhere you go, but it is only single band for 3G and HSDPA, which is 2100 band. It was originally announced back in April here in the UK, and isn't that lovely? 107mm from top to bottom, just under 55mm wide, and just under 12mm thick. Doesn't weigh an awful lot, 98 grams. For a touchscreen phone like this, it's not bad at all, and as you can see, it's just started up. Rest of spec, well, only 60 meg of internal memory, so you're certainly going to want to buy a micro SD card if you want to use it for music and taking photos and that sort of thing, because 60 meg isn't really going to get you very far, especially as that has also got to cover things like the contacts and phone memory and all that sort of thing. It does support vibration and MP3 ringtones, and the micro SD card, as I say, according to the spec we just read, up to 16 gig, but no more. It does have Bluetooth 2 with A2DP support, but no wireless LAN, which is pretty common for an entry-level handset. It's only the slightly more expensive ones that seem to include Wi-Fi at the moment. So this is obviously the silver one, but it is available in black too, and I dare say there will be other colours to follow on, as have other LG Viewty models in the past come out with pink and purple colours later on in their actual life cycle. According to spec, battery will last up to 250 hours on standby and 3 hours and 30 minutes on talk. So let's have a quick look around the interface. You'll probably recognise the interface as being the S-Class style interface that's very common among the LG handsets. So underneath we have one here for bringing up the phone dialer, and the touchscreen is pretty sensitive. It does require, well, a little bit of pressure from your finger if you're using your finger, or else using a fingernail just to actually put the pressure on the screen to actually make that work. But it works quite well. The dialer is pretty straightforward and basic, as you'd expect. Going back home, we have your contacts. Clearly I don't have any here at the moment because I've just booted up. And if we go back out of here, back to the home screen, we have messages. So it's your inbox, includes SMS and email in here as well. And then finally at the end, we have a bit for bringing up your communications. This is kind of like straightforward items. So communications, you've got media, and you've got your utilities, and you've got your settings, including your Bluetooth and phone settings, screen settings, and everything down the side. And we go back. If we push the button in the middle, it brings up favourite apps, which I have in here, including profiles. And the running apps, it shows you obviously the fact that home screen is running. Well, that would be a surprise. So we go back home and we can add widgets onto the desktop here, and they include things like Facebook and Twitter. So we actually add Twitter onto the desktop there, and that does add the Twitter app. Well, it's actually a Twitter shortcut. Connections failed. Well, if you've followed our videos in the past, you'll know that I get absolutely no network coverage here where I live, so it's no surprise that it's not working. And obviously we don't have the ability to fall back to Wi-Fi, so it's no surprise it's not working. So there's a shortcut there that I've just placed on the desktop. So that is a very quick look at the Samsung GT405 or the Samsung LG Viewty GT. We'll have a full review for you over the next couple of weeks on tracyandmatt.co.uk. But don't forget to follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/tracyandmatt, for all of our updates and tweets. We actually do tweet whenever we have any updates to the site, so worth following us for that alone. And I'll be back soon with some more videos and reviews on tracyandmatt.co.uk.